Welcome back to another game featuring the pre-constructed Commander 2017 decks. This time we're doing Archenemy, since there were 4 decks, featuring Dragon as the Archenemy. He's going up against the other commanders, Edgar Markov, Inalla, Archmage Ritualist, and Arahbo, Roar of the World. Can the team hold off the Archenemy? We shall see. Dragon goes first and starts by scheming into My Wish is Your Command, which lets him cast a spell from one of his opponent's hands. He looks at all 3 of the team's hands and chooses to cast Curse of Disturbance out of Edgar's hand and enchants Edgar with it. So whenever he attacks Edgar, he gets a zombie, but the team can't attack themselves. Then, on the team's turn, Inalla and Arahbo both play Path of Ancestry, which enters tapped. Then on Dragon's turn, he once again schemes into My Wish is Your Command, and takes the Kindred Boon again out of Edgar's hand, choosing dragons, which can make his dragons indestructible. That's not going to be fun. Still no spells from anyone, as we're just playing tap lands. Edgar gains a life with a gain a life land, and Inalla scries when he casts Nin the Pain Artist. Path of Ancestry is pretty good in a tribal deck. The Dragon starts his turn 3 by scheming into Realms Befitting My Majesty for an Explosive Vegetation, which is very good early in the game. Dragon then also casts his first spell of the game, Kodama's Reach, for some even more land rent. Then on the team's turn, Arahbo continues to play equipment without any creatures, and Edgar and Inalla both do nothing. Then on his turn, Dragon schemes into Your Puny Minds Cannot Fathom, which draws him 4 cards and Reliquary Tower for the rest of the turn. He then casts his first dragon of the game with Sunscorch Regent, who can be devastating if not dealt with. He also uses Wayfarer's Bauble for some more rent. On the team's turn, Inalla starts with Seagate Oracle, and a clone count 1, copying the Oracle with Inalla's Command Zone effect. The Regent gets a +1 counter and gains Dragon 1 life. Rakish Air from Edgar, who also gets a Vampire token and also boosts the Regent, as well as Arahbo's Hedron Archive, so 3 life and 3 counters for the turn. Still no cats from Arahbo though. I bask in your silent awe from Dragon, which makes it so the team can't play more than 1 spell a turn until the scheme is abandoned. Then for his turn, he casts Ramos, Dragon Engine. This guy is pretty nuts. And then goes full claws out, attacking the Inalla player, probably not wanting to have to worry about getting his spells countered. Then on the team's turn, Oresco's Explorer from Arahbo. So, cats on the board. And he's going to search up 3 planes since he has the least amount of lands. Anawan the Ruin Sage Vampire from Edgar. And Dragon gains 3 life for the turn. That Regent just keeps on ticking up and no one is answering it. And to make matters worse, he gives them both indestructibility with the Kindred Boon. Then on his scheme phase, He schemes into the Iron Guardian Stirs, making a 4/6 artifact creature. The Ur-Dragon then comes out, giving Ramos +5 counters since he is 5 colors. Both dragons then head towards Inalla, and Arahbo casts Condemn to put Sunscorch to the bottom of his deck and putting him up to 97 life. Ramos deals Inalla 9 damage. Oh, and Uvara Hellkite comes out with the Ur-Dragon combat effect. That's pretty spectacular. Then, post-combat, he plays even more dragons, including Intet with Ramos's mana ability, and then puts the counters all right back on it. Everyone sacks non-vampires on Edgar's upkeep from the Anawan effect. Arahbo draws 2 cards from the Skull Clamp effect. Edgar conspires with Inalla and then goes to combat, attacking with his team, and Ur-Dragon, even though he's at an insanely high life total, blocks all of it confidently, probably not also wanting Rakish Era to pump his team. In response, Inalla casts Polymorphist's Jest, turning all of Ur-Dragon's creatures into 1/1 frogs and losing the indestructibility effect. All 4 of the blocking dragons die, but he retains the most problematic one, Ramos. Arahbo plays another cat with Taj Nar Swordsmith, who searches his library and gets Lightning Greaves onto the battlefield, and then equips it and also the clamps, but not in that order. Introductions are in order, is schemed by Ur-Dragon, who chooses to search up a creature and add it to hand. He chooses Broodmate Dragon. He then easily recasts his commander using Ramos' mana ability and then gets all the counters he spent right back. That is unfair. He then attacks Inalla, again triggering Ur-Dragon's draw, land a permanent ability. Inalla uses his Serendib Sorcerer effect to negate 4 points of damage from Ramos, but the sorcerer doesn't affect the +1 counters, so Inalla takes 7 damage. Post-combat, he then casts the Broodmate Dragon, getting a dragon token and adding more counters to Ramos. End of turn, Inalla pings Anawan for 1 damage, just so that he can draw a card. Then on the team's upkeep, Edgar stacks the Anawan effect. Inalla debates which of his creatures to keep and finally decides to lose Nin, since it doesn't really do anything against Ur-Dragon's board. First, Nin shoots one of Edgar's tokens for 4, drawing Edgar 4 cards. Each other player, other than Edgar, sacks a creature, since they all have non-vampires. Ur-Dragon just sacks a goblin. The team can only play 1 spell a turn due to the ongoing scheme unless they don't cast anything for a turn, which is what they decide to do now. At the end of the turn, Ur-Dragon makes his commander indestructible. Then on Ur-Dragon's turn, the scheme is abandoned since the team didn't cast a spell last turn, and the new scheme for the turn is Every Last Vestige Shall Rot, which is not good for the team. In response to this, Edgar uses Drana's effect to give Commander Ur-Dragon -2, and then the Inalla player hits it with the Serendib Sorcerer, making Ur-Dragon a 0/2, killing it even though it's indestructible. But that sucks for the team, because with all the counters on Ramos, Ur-Dragon can just come out again next turn like it's no big deal. Ur-Dragon Commander then immediately comes right back out, putting the counters right back onto Ramos, who then attacks and kills Inalla, dealing him 22 damage with all of his dragons. Ur-Dragon puts Spellbound Dragon onto the battlefield with the Ur-Dragon combat effect. Then, the Archenemy's next target is Arahbo, attacking him. After a massive attack from the Ur-Dragon, Arahbo goes to 9. The team is having trouble dealing with Ur-Dragon's creatures, since they all have indestructible. They basically have to bounce them or make him sacrifice them, which is what the Anawan was doing. At this point, Edgar is basically out of gas, and the Archenemy's schemes aren't slowing down. Edgar casts Bloodsworn Steward, and Arahbo refines Tajnar Swordsmith, casts it, searching up Argentum armor, putting it into play. Then Arahbo slow rolls Divine Reckoning, making each player destroy all but one of their creatures, hurting the Ur-Dragon the most. His creatures lost indestructibility when he lost the boon enchantment. Ramos sticks around since that is Ur-Dragon's MVP. On his turn, Ur-Dragon once again comes back out with Ramos's ability and attacks, finishing off Arahbo. Then, just down to Archenemy and Edgar, Edgar calls it, winning another game for the Archenemy. Ur-Dragon. Divide and conquer. Start by killing the Inalla player. The standouts from this game were that early game Kindred boon, protecting all of Ur-Dragon's creatures, Sunscorch Regent, and then of course Ramos Dragon Engine, which was never dealt with, and it comboed beautifully with his commander. He could just cast his commander, put 5 counters on it, remove 5 counters to get 10 mana, which was almost enough to cover the entire cost of the commander. After he started casting it a few times, it started to add up, but he had so much early game ramp that it really wasn't that big of a deal. Well, there you have it. What are your thoughts regarding this game, as well as this year's precon decks? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, stay cool, stay clone, people.